I'm joined now by Steve Letendre, who's a professor at Green Mountain College in Vermont. We're here to talk a little bit about how solar can be used as a fuel for light vehicles. Steve, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
Steve, can you give me a synopsis of how solar can be used as a fuel for light vehicles, which you're speaking on this afternoon here at the conference?
Sure, I would love to. Really what's happening is I think we're in the midst of this significant transition away from the internal combustion engine to electric drive in the form of plug-in hybrids or even pure EVs. And so we're beginning to see this transition with the kind of standard hybrid like the Toyota Prius, which doesn't necessarily connect to the grid, but all the major auto manufacturers, including General Motors, Ford, Nissan, Toyota, are talking about bringing the next generation of hybrids and electric vehicles to the market, which will then be charging from the power grid. And so the concept that I'm presenting today is the idea that as vehicles use electricity as a fuel source, this really opens up a tremendous opportunity for solar electricity, solar photovoltaic technology to serve as a fuel for the transportation sector. So this is really an exciting opportunity for us to displace petroleum and to move towards a clean, renewable form of energy for our vehicles.
We've already seen a little bit of this in this country as well as in Europe, is that right?
Well, really along the edges, this isn't really necessarily a totally new concept. University teams such as MIT, University of Michigan, for many years have had these engineering competitions where they have students design vehicles that are totally powered by solar. They've got solar photovoltaic technology embedded in the vehicle, and then they frequently compete in these races across the country, and Australia is famous for one of these solar races. And these vehicles were really never intended for commercial applications. It was really just an experiment challenging engineering students. And so I think what we're about to see here in the next 2 to 5 years are commercial plug-in hybrids, commercial electric vehicles such as those being proposed by Nissan Motors with their partners Peugeot and Project Better Place. And so as we have commercially available electric drive vehicles, plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, this is really the first time that solar is now a viable option for the masses to power our vehicles.
What are some of the stumbling blocks to getting these technologies online and available for the masses?
Right. Well, there really aren't any fundamental barriers to making this happen. It really is just a matter of having these vehicles commercially available at a price that consumers will accept. And then once the vehicles are out there, it's really up to the PV and solar industry to figure out how to deliver that fuel to their customers. And so I present in my paper, in my presentation this afternoon, a whole variety of different ways that the industry can begin to understand this opportunity and begin to deliver solar fuel to their vehicles. The most simple way would be doing a net metered PV system on your home, for example, and sizing the system in such a way that it would not only provide power for your home, but it would also provide power for your electric vehicle or your plug-in hybrid. In fact, I've talked to some solar installers in Vermont and their customers who are kind of on the leading edge, who have the resources to buy the Tesla Motors Roadster that are asking these solar installers, well, put in a system that's going to not only power my home, but also power my vehicle. And so then, so that's one model. We could have office buildings installing solar and having preferred parking areas for vehicles that are electric drive, plug-in hybrid, or all electric vehicles. And then those cars could be charging during the day, and the owners could perhaps pay, or it could be just a benefit that the employer provides to their employees. And then the whole idea that you could deploy solar for fueling vehicles, that's totally grid independent. You would have like a parking garage or a carport that's independent from the grid, and it simply provides space for cars to park, and the cars would simply be charging during the day if the sun is shining.
So do you see a day when, standing outside the Buffalo Niagara Convention Center here, we're going to see solar charging stations?
I think it's coming. I'm pretty excited about the prospects of that. And one other mechanism that I've written about before is this idea of vehicle integrated PV, VIPV, where actually you're integrating solar technology onto the panels of the vehicle, the roof and the hood. And so that allows opportunity charging for the vehicle when it's exposed to sunlight. We would recognize that that wouldn't be a complete fueling situation, but it would provide the vehicle with a kilowatt hour of electricity, which would provide 3 to 4 miles of travel, which would essentially is free once the vehicle has been purchased.
And would that include technologies like the solar paints that we're hearing about that are in development right now?
Yeah, in fact, I've been talking to some folks here at this conference developing some of the thin film technology, and they're actually in conversation with some of the auto manufacturers about depositing these thin film materials onto the steel panels of the vehicle, and then you've really got a complete solution. Rumor has it that Toyota is introducing next year a solar option where they'll have like a moon roof or a sunroof that has an integrated solar photovoltaic panel on it, and the purpose of that is to simply circulate air and cool the vehicle during the day, so that when you start up the vehicle you don't have a burst of energy to cool the vehicle and begin your travels.
Certainly a lot of exciting developments going on in this space. Steve Letendre, thank you very much for joining me today.
Well, thank you.